Welcome! This is ANT3451 Race and Racism. I'm Liz Ibarrola. I'm a PhD student and teaching associate in the Department of Anthropology. I designed this course alongside Lance Gravely, also from the Department of Anthropology. The course won the 2018 Quality of Course Materials Online Education Excellence Award. We approach this course with the understanding that every student has a unique experience of race and racism. For some students, that means having been sheltered from even having a conversation about race and racism. For others, it means having experienced race and racism on a daily basis and having been conscious of their race from a young age. Our readings and activities were designed to help students learn about how the concept of race emerged, the role science played in propagating that concept, and the role that structures today play in perpetuating racism, all while recognizing that their experience of race and racism is valid and significant. It was clear that each student responded differently to the different assignments, but they also often said that they appreciated the variety of assignments and the room that we made for discussion and reflection. One of the assignments students liked a lot and learned a lot from was the growth of the suburbs. The growth of the suburbs assignment is set up as a quiz but graded as an assignment. We made it a quiz so that students could work through the activity, getting feedback along the way. They start by evaluating the total assets of several families, calculating these families' net worths. They input those answers, and then they're asked to reflect on what asset makes the biggest difference in family wealth, and think about what factors might affect a student's ability to accumulate wealth over their lifetimes. A key question here is whether those factors are determined by the individual or if they're influenced by external conditions. Next, the students complete the same sort of audit for themselves and 2 case studies, reflecting on the factors that may have led to different family wealth for themselves and the 2 characters, Max and Brian. One of the last questions in the assignment asks students to reflect on whether someone has to be personally racist to benefit from racist policies. For students who aren't familiar with the difficulty of working while in school or who don't hesitate to ask their parents for money, which was very close to my own experience as a college student, they haven't thought about how external factors can ultimately set them up to be more successful in school, in life. This assignment helps them to see both tangible and intangible components of structural racism in a way that they had never considered. Another assignment that students liked a lot is the interview. As I mentioned, reflection and conversation were meant to be an important part of this course. In one of the final assignments, students are asked to interview a friend, a family member, or a colleague about their perceptions of race. The students first have to anticipate how the interviewee will respond, then conduct the actual interview. Finally, they compare the 2, the expected responses and the given responses. Sometimes the students are spot on. They know exactly how their family member or friend will respond. Sometimes they're totally wrong. But in every case, they seem to recognize how bringing these conversations home, talking about race and racism more on a daily basis, have changed their understanding or their family members, their friends. They recognize that these conversations, taken from a discussion board, have real impact, have some meaning in their lives. The final assignment in the course is a digital storytelling project, a chance for the students to tell their story about race. They tend to have a love-hate relationship with this assignment because it requires a lot of work. But in the end, they produce a pretty powerful story that they have a lot of ownership over. All throughout the course, they have been working on the skills to produce this assignment, writing storyboards, recording videos, and in the second to last module, they put it all together. They do research, they come up with their idea, they put together a storyboard, they record, they share their project with their peers, give and get feedback, and finally edit and submit a final project. We've had students submit all kinds of projects. Some about learning to love their natural hair, the struggle of being undocumented in the United States, recognizing their white privilege for the first time. You name it, the students submit it. I think that these final projects reflect what I like so much about teaching this course. Every student starts and finishes the course in a different place. They all get the same lectures, the same assignments, same readings, but everyone has a unique experience. Some are really engaged in the group discussions. Others like being sent out to the store for a privileged scavenger hunt. Other people read every single supplemental reading, but the course is experienced differently by everyone because of their different racialized positions. The objective of the course is for students to take what they're learning about human biological variation and the cultural construction of race and use that to recognize their place within a racialized society. And so far, they seem to be doing it pretty well.